Hey guys, it's Rohit here, and today's video I want to speak about exactly how to 10x the profile funnel with AI and how to leverage AI. See, the biggest problem that most founders or most people who create or leverage the profile funnel is that they use AI to outsource thinking, which is the worst thing you can do because you've got basically three main components to any profile funnel that exists. There is the content that you have, the story sequences that you run, and the DMs that you use to convert to people. Now, understanding how to leverage AI in every one of these three components within the profile funnel is extremely important for you to create the leverage you need. The problem with AI scripting is that usually it just sounds too generic or too fake. That is, AI cannot replicate the exact voice that you need. And a lot of people do this wherein they ask Claude, like, how do I create my positioning? And they expect an answer which will be actually useful for them, which obviously will not happen because a Claude does not know how to position you. It's trained on data that is publicly accessible. So obviously, the output that you want from AI is always going to be less generic, fake, because that is what it was trained to do. A lot of people don't understand why AI does this, and the reason why is because LLMs are prediction models. And what I mean by that is that, for example, if you provide it, let's say you're building an LLM from scratch and you provided data across multiple different streams of information. Let's say it's specifically around fruits. Just for the simplicity of this example, it's trained on fruits. And so you ask it a question, which fruit is red? And it doesn't know the answer. So you tell it, okay, the fruit which is actually red is an apple. Now, the next time you ask this exact same question, it knows the answer is apple because it's trying to predict what is the best output that you actually want. For example, now let's say you ask this exact LLM this question that name me a fruit which is not of red color. Let's say you ask that question to this model. What's going to happen is that it's not going to tell you apple because it doesn't fit the prediction of what it is of what you actually want as a user. So the one thing that you need to understand is that the reason why you cannot create good scripts or you cannot create good marketing assets with AI at the moment is because it is giving you the output which it is predicting is what you want. Like, you cannot blame ChatGPT, you cannot blame Claude that it is not giving you the right output, because the quality of the output that you get from these AI models is entirely dependent on the input that you provide. The key thing that you have to understand is that the profile funnel will only work for you, especially if you can create any level of differentiation. Because the entire concept behind the profile funnel is that you create differentiation with your market so that people actually convert. Now, most people suck at this because they want to help you, they want Claude's help in creating differentiation because they cannot go through the tough process of figuring out how to do it. They're lazy fuckers. That's exactly why they're not able to create any differentiation. So how do you actually use AI to 10x the funnel that you're running to actually get the results that you want? The first step in actually getting an ideal output is to provide exact business context to any AI model. Now, obviously, we're going to be using Claude for this, but the key important point for you to understand is that Claude cannot give you an output for any video idea or any script or any marketing asset that you want to build if it doesn't know what business you run. And I'm not saying you give it the name of the offer or you give it the deliverables. You want to give it business context. That is exactly what you're selling, who you're selling it to, your offer, your ICP, obviously, that's obviously the thing. But how do you treat your company? What are the values in your company? What is your vision with the company? What do you actually care about? Because the moment AI will understand what you need, it will be able to, tailor every output that it creates to actually fit that prediction of yours. So the first input that you would always want to provide to any AI model is business context. Now, creating a proper business context also is determined by the exact understanding that you have about the audience or the exact buyer that you want to attract. So I wrote this free 25-page document right here, which goes over exactly how the prospects behave, how your viewers behave. Now, if you want me to send this to you for free, you can just DM me on Instagram, which is linked in the description. The other thing that you want to provide is the ICP profile. So obviously this is the profile that I have, and it shows exactly what pains, desires, problems that you have, the phrases that you use. You can see how in-depth it actually is, because most people are providing one-page documents and expecting a 100-page or 100-page worth of quality of output from AI. It's never going to work like that. The third thing is to have a brand strategy, that is creating a entire description of how you want to position yourself, how your content is supposed to be positioned, so that it's actually useful for you. So every single time you prompt AI, you want to provide all of these contexts, bare minimum, always, every single time. The next thing that you want to do is build data set number one. So we're going to be building two data sets for you to leverage, and you need these data sets in place so that you're able to actually create the conversion that you need. So the first data set is going to be working ideas. Now, the reason why we provide working ideas as a data set number one is because AI needs to know exactly what is good output and what is bad output. And if it doesn't understand what is good and bad, it's never going to be able to give you the exact output you need. So instead of having to provide an in-depth explanation of every single component within like the system prompt or the prompt that you give to AI, you provide a database of working ideas and you build this shit every single day. You dedicate an hour of your day to go on to YouTube, find outlier videos in your own niche, in different niches, so that you have a database of exactly what ideas are working well within your space, so that AI knows background wise that it knows who the ideas are trying to target. It knows how to position this content, but now it understands what is actually working so that it can replicate that stuff. So the first system is going to be you breaking down a working idea within your space. So all you do is break down exactly why it worked, the belief systems being involved, the paradigm shifts involved, the exact psychological levers being used in that idea specifically to create conversion. And in system two, you take this input and you provide that input to AI as another background context, so that now when you want to generate ideas, when you want to generate scripts, whatever it is that you want to do, any sort of marketing asset that you want to build with AI specifically, it now understands who you're trying to target, what you're trying to sell them, how you want to be positioned as per the market, what is working well within the market, the exact psychological levers that worked well in the past, so that then it can use all of this as context and produce the right output that you actually need. And then you'll be able to create content which actually resonates well with your market and it actually sounds real. Now, I've built a software called Verve, which actually does that in the backend process. So as a user, you don't have to actually do anything. Inside Idea Genesis itself, you can just come up with infinite content ideas. You can come up with any amount of ideas that you actually need. So for example, let's say I go in here, based on any input idea I have, I get top of funnel Instagram, middle of funnel YouTube, middle of funnel YouTube, top of funnel. So I can produce videos based and generate ideas based on what is working well within my market, and also position itself so that it actually works. Now imagine more context being added to the agent in such a way that now every single video that you run, you have information across exactly what pillars these videos are based on. You have information across exactly how many people click the video, how many people turn into bookings, how many people turn into leads from exact videos that you have. You have recommendations from AI around exactly what to create on, and all of this data is used by the model inside our system, inside the software, to come up with ideas specifically for you. Imagine how much more of a leverage you can create and how much more money you can make, because now you're not outsourcing your thinking. Your creative capabilities are still intact because you are actually creating the videos. But instead of you having to look at data and then think about everything and then like you don't know what to post, you have a step-by-step process and you have enough context for AI to actually replace what you're actually doing. If you like the idea of Verve and how it sounds and how useful it could be, you can click the first link in the description, become one of our beta users, because we're launching this very, very soon. And it's absolutely going to change the way you actually approach any content that you post. This is exactly how to 10x your profile funnel. If you want to watch other videos, you can go and watch that. Otherwise, check out Verve. I would love to have you onboarded as our beta users and early access users. Anyways, I'll see you in the next one. Take care. Peace.